what is, according to you, the secret ingredient for peace between Palestinians and Israelis?
The secret ingredient.
Yes.
Justice for everybody, equality.
What is justice for you, though?
Justice is if anybody commits a crime, no matter who he or she is, the law will relate to them equally. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
From now on, or does that also mean historical justice? For example, a Palestinian who lives in Nablus, who's from Jaffa, says, until that person leaves the house that belonged to my grandparents, there's no justice.
Yeah.
Or the Jew who, similar, I had a land, or...
Yeah. I mean, I cannot argue with such people. It's their issue, and I guess they are right. It happens through history that people get back their properties wherever they are, like the Israelis or many Jews will get their properties back in Europe. But each one judges the reality from their position. Anyway, I mean, equality for everybody.
Okay.
Same human rights for everybody. I mean, not different levels of human rights. Okay? For one group or for the other group.
טוב, את גרה בנווה שלום, ונווה שלום זה קהילה של גם ערבים וגם יהודים.
נכון.
אז השאלה מחול, מה המתכון הסודי לשלום בין ישראלים ופלסטינאים?
אני אגיד לך מה המתכון. אני גרה פה 40 שנה, מהמייסדים, והמתכון הסודי הוא ששני הצדדים צריכים להבין שזה לא מדינה רק של היהודים, אלא גם של הערבים, ולחלק את הכוח באופן שוויוני, ולכלול את הערבים בקואליציה, את המפלגות הערביות, ולעשות שוויון בקרקעות ובתקציבים, כי כולם אזרחי המדינה. כן. זה המתכון הסודי. כששאלת את השאלה מה האינגרידיאנס של לעשות שלום בין יהודים וערבים, אני יכולה לדבר על זה קצת יותר. אני חושבת שהאמון, צריך לבנות את האמון בין שני הצדדים, לפרק את הפחדים. יש פה מנגנון במדינה שנתניהו מוביל אותו, של הפחדת הציבור. ערבים הם בני אדם כמונו. ללמוד את השפה הערבית כדי לתקשר עם האחר. להיות נכונים שזה בית לשני הצדדים ולא רק לצד אחד. לחלק את הכוח בשוויון. לחלק את התקציבים בשוויון, להבין שזה השותפים שלנו. האמת, אני חושבת שהערבים הם השותפים החזקים שלנו לשמור על המדינה הזאת כמדינה דמוקרטית. לא מדינה רק של היהודים. חוק הלאום הזה היה פגיעה עמוקה ברגשות הציבור של האזרחים הערבים שחיים פה במדינה, ואנחנו צריכים ליצור פה שותפות. ונווה שלום היא דוגמת של שותפות שקיימת 40 שנה, והיא מצליחה, היא רק גדלה. הדור השני שלנו בא לגור פה, הילדים שלנו. כי היה להם טוב לגדול בסביבה משותפת, בבית ספר דו-לשוני, דו-לאומי. אז הנכונות הזאת, להפסיק לחשוב שזה רק מדינה של היהודים. זה המרכיב העיקרי של הדבר הזה. If you are interested in the processes of change, this is a book for you to read. This is a new book, The Power of Dialogues, telling the story of change. Jews and Palestinians went through in the workshops of the School for Peace and the courses that we are doing. And 25 interviews, in-depth interviews that are really giving, of half of them Jewish, half of them Arabs, that are giving the process of change and what they have done since then. Amazing, interesting book published by Rutgers University Press.
And just so you know, I found this woman. I did not look for her. I didn't know the book. Just so you know, this is all by random chance, these things.
השאלה היא, מה לדעתך המרכיב הסודי לשלום בין פלסטינאים לישראלים?
אני חושב שהמרכיב הסודי לשלום בין פלסטינים וישראלים, וזה מהניסיון שלי, הוא לעבוד ביחד. כשעובדים ביחד במקום מסוים, במקום עבודה, ויש מטרה משותפת לאנשים ועובדים בצוות, זה הדבר שהכי יכול להביא להיכרות ולשלום. למשל, אני עובד בבית חולים הדסה. יש לנו מטרה לשרת את החולים, את האנשים. זו המטרה שלנו, וכולנו עובדים לאותה מטרה, והכל מגויס לדבר אחד, והקשר הוא מאוד חזק וקרוב וטוב, ולא מכניסים נושאים פוליטיים. כשנושאים פוליטיים נכנסים, זה יכול לקלקל. אני חושב שצריך להתחיל מזה, לעבוד ביחד, לחיות ביחד, להיות בשיתוף פעולה ביחד, בכל מיני מישורים, ואז זה יכול להוות הבסיס לשלום.
אז ממה שאתה אומר אני מבין, יכול להיות שהעסקים בין שני הצדדים זה יכול הרבה להביא פוטנציאל לשלום, כן?
ברור, כן. אני דיברתי על מישור אחד, אבל התכוונתי לכל המישורים. שיתוף פעולה במישור של עסקים, במישור של עבודה משותפת, בפרויקטים משותפים, במחקרים משותפים, כן.
אינטרסים משותפים בעבודה. כן.
אינטרסים משותפים, ברור. כשיש עסקים ועבודה יש אינטרס משותף. שאנחנו עובדים למענו.
אני עושה שאלות כאלה, גם בצד השני, כאילו ברמאללה ובית לחם ודברים כאלה, ואני מרגיש שיש הרבה שנאה שם, שהם לא רוצים לעבוד עם יהודים, הם לא רוצים קשר בכלל עם יהודים. אם אתה מדבר עם פלסטינאים מהשטחים, יש לך, מה אתה אומר לו?
יש לי קשר, אומנם מעט, עם פלסטינאים מהשטחים, ואני מרגיש שהנטייה שלהם היא כן לשיתוף פעולה ולעבודה ביחד, ולחיות במדינה משותפת היום.
אוקיי. ואם מישהו אומר לא, מתנגד, נגיד שהוא אומר, כל זה פלסטין, היהודים צריכים להעיף, אנחנו צריכים להעיף אותם, או לגור איתם, אבל אנחנו שולטים, אנחנו הפלסטינאים שולטים.
לא, זה לא ריאלי, אי אפשר. זכותו לחיות חיים לאומיים וחיים לחוד, וגם לעשות שיתוף פעולה. הוא יכול לחיות במקום שלו, באזור שלו, בטריטוריה שלו, ולהיות בשיתוף פעולה עם היהודים. זה לא מנוגד, זה בסדר גמור. למשל, אני עובד עם חרדים, הם חיים בשכונה החרדית, הם מקיימים אורח חיים חרדי, אבל אנחנו עובדים ביחד במקום העבודה.
What is the secret recipe for peace between Israelis and Palestinians?
Wow, what a question.
Small question, nothing.
Well, I doubt if there is such a recipe, and it was clearly not found yet, but some ingredients that you have to put to this dish are clearly knowing the others much better than we do. So it means culturally and emotionally, their attitude to religions and stuff like that, and for instance to music, to art, to everything. And before you have this ability to really feel like them, then you probably will consider them as others. So that's one ingredient. The other is that you have to be ready to give up part of your priorities, your power, and to share. And very often one can unite if there is a common enemy, but we don't want this situation. We want that we have a common project that we want to accomplish together. And so that's I think is quite essential, that we will have something that we would like to do together, not just living together, but that there is some common goal to all of us. So this notion of power and equality, and this is one thing that we've learned in Neve Shalom through the years, that power and authority should be shared. At present, the mayor of the place is an Arab, the head of the hotel is an Arab, and so on and so forth. So it has to be that it is shared in a natural way, not by regulations, but in the way that things happen naturally. And well, what else?
You want to ask a question?
So you said like 2 ingredients, yeah.
What?
That's 2 ingredients you said, yeah.
Yes, and so I mentioned this, cultural, autonomy and this mutual respecting each other. So I mean, we have to. Well, I'll tell you, I when I came here, I couldn't listen to Arabic music. It was really hurting me, but now it's totally different. And in that respect, I think that things will very
So
soon.
what happened? I was going to ask you about that. What do you do when the other's culture on either side rubs you the wrong way? What do you do? So how did you get used to Arabic music?
Well, it's just a matter of time, and gradually, it's not a process that goes from one day to the other. And but clearly now, when there is music in the radio or around, I feel very comfortable about it. I'm not alienated. It does not offend me, and I feel that it's starting to be part of me. I don't claim that I feel about it exactly as I feel to the music that I'm used to, but it's still much better than it was. And it's a long process. I don't think that it can be from one day to the other.
I'm going to make an assumption here, and assume that you're very secular and probably don't believe in God.
Right.
So to the Arabs who live here, who might be Muslim, and to them that's very offensive almost, this idea. Did that happen? Something like that?
Well, so that's also a misconception. So the Arabs here in the Shalom, I mean, most of them, the majority by far, are non-religious. There are some that are religious, but the rest are not. And also, religion, being religious is not a yes or no. There is all kind of a spectrum. So some people, well, by the way, it's interesting that in recent years, more people are now fasting in Ramadan than when we came here. But still there are people there that don't believe in God, and there are Arabs. So it's not mean Arab Muslims. So just as I'm a Jew and I
And you don't believe either.
So, yeah. So, but there are people that are religious. Let me give you a very good example. I have a very good friend, Abdel. He's a religious person, but he's the head of a department in Hadassah Hospital and so on. So his life is very high professional life, but he's personally is a religious person, and we can cope together. There is no problem about it.
When you said that at the beginning it was hard for you to listen to Arabic music, it felt like it was a fear that you said it's a long process that you overcame over time.
Yes.
Was it fear? Do you
Yes,
consider?
yes, that's definitely something that I overcame, and now it's well. Since you asked, I forgot to mention something which is probably the most important, and that's the political issues.
Yeah.
So you cannot, construct something together, avoiding or sweeping under the rug this political problem. We should be open on the table, discussed. Not always we will agree about them, but that should be really a very, very essential problem, openly speaking about them. And well, of course, each of us has some views of what is the solution to the problem, but even if we don't fully agree, we can live together. So.
And people, I assume, here don't agree on the political solutions.
There is a variety
like
of
everywhere.
opinions.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not like everywhere, but we are clearly not in one direction of the political map. But there are also sometimes I've been accused here in the Shalom that I'm a right-wing person, and in my university I'm considered to be the most leftist. You see, so that's this funny thing. Yes.
According to you, what is the secret ingredient for peace between Palestinians and Israelis?
It's a very simple equation, actually. If you feel equal and act like equal in democratic place, this is very simple rules that you, as a human being, don't have any Jewish supremacy upon the Palestinians and not the other ways, and you will release all the history and pain. You recognize, you study, your knowledge, you know what's happened to your neighbor, but you don't, act like you own the place or you control the other people. So when you feel equal in a small place with the community, is like everybody is the same and have the same rules, the same duties, and have the feeling that they belong to each other and work very hard every day to, to neutralize all the poison from outside. You can do it. And the amazing people who founded this place, I'm like the second generation. I came to this place 20 years after. But they were ambitious, naive, and they believe in these simple values of equality, democracy, peace, and justice. It's like a slogan, but people, the four first families who came here and founded this place, they believe in that, and I do so, and my sons as well. So it's keep going. The good news that we are not the only people who believe in that. We have waiting lists of people who want to try to do something, to walk the talk. Everybody talk about peace or wish to peace. The Jewish people pray for peace, but they don't act like really want it. So we don't take anything for granted. We work very hard, and sometimes it's annoying. In our WhatsApp group, for example, or General Assembly. But
The internal one for the
for the community.
For the community, yeah.
But nobody leave, and nobody give up and leave the place. So the secret is to believe in the values and to implement what do you believe in everyday life, from the good morning and until good night.
To be sincere and to when you say feel equal, I feel respected. Yeah.
I don't know about respect. It's more duty. It's more. It's feel equal. That means that when you have an election, you don't have this urge as Jewish to control the place because you own this place. So you don't feel any kind of supremacy or that you have extra rights because you were born Jewish. Feeling equal, that means that you have a Palestinian mayor and you don't have problem with that. So if you ask yourself, outside the Neve Shalom, Wahd al-Salam, if this place belongs to everyone who live here and they have the same rights and same privileges and duties, your answer say, like in your really mind and subconscious, that yes, I feel equal, you will act like one. But if you say the words that this is a democracy and equality and all kind of things, and when you meet Palestinian workers and you feel that you have to control him, or you can control him by violent or by just being Jewish who Israeli who have this place with this Jewish state, so it's not really authentic, feeling that you feel equal. So what we do here, we're trying all the time to enhance and to empower this feeling and to maintain that. And so we do have, for example, Palestinian mayor, and nobody have problem with that because we choose him in democratic way. We have a Jewish chairperson of the education system, which is okay. So I work with my Jewish colleagues, and I really feel that I'm professional and they are professional. We're sharing the same office, and we don't have this urge, and we don't fight who's controlling what. So we do our job. So this is something that you really have to practice as a Jewish young man who grew up in this state that someone occupied other people's territory and says, like, God give us this land, and because God give us this thing, we own everything and we control everything. So when you translate the equality and democracy in any community, in any state, this is a kind of contract between you as a citizen and the state. For us, the state is a tool of like managing our life. But when these states treat 20% of if its citizen in discrimination and the incitement and the hate speech that we heard all the time, you can stay silent against that. And here in Wahd al-Salam, Neve Shalom, we can't allow this to happen because we know that people, Palestinian and Israelis, choose to live together and practice this life every day, and in all the aspects, economically, education, everything is shared. So, and we know this model is like doable and possible and successful in 90% of the time. So we have something to offer to the external world. But if the government and this current fascist government, believe and put this hate speech and the fear, they control 6 or 7 million Jewish people, and convince them that someone wants to kill them because they are Jewish. And this is, for us, this is like psychology of hate that could, maintain the power in the right-wing government, and they live very good life, and the benefits, the economical benefits, they use us all as like actors in their big play, and we have something to say about that.
The most helpful thing you can do for the Ask Project is to come here, visit, rent a car, and we'll go ask questions together. You can ask any question you want. I'd love to have you come. Just send me an email at the Gmail at the end of this video.